Welcome. Soredapea Kesai Namakisinaki. Happy Thursday. Nakesaredapeka Sereniniaki. Welcome to this remembrance space, Soredake Sereniniameka, through which messages come through for you, Soredake Sereniniameka, for us, Sakedapea Kesai Nanaki. As you are no different than me. Karepake Sereniniameka. Even through the personal story, Soredake Sereniniameki. There's like an intersection, Soredapeka Sereninianeka, and that is how we connect. Soredake Sereniniamekisaka. Welcome everybody, welcome. It's wonderful to be here. Definitely missed it on Monday. Taking care of human things, but that's the deal. So in this video, we're going to be talking about authenticity, and it's something that has been coming up so strongly in my personal story and the story of some clients, some students, and it's a wonderful place to be, in being in that inquiry. What does it feel like to be you? And are you truthful to who you're being? And how can you relax more in what is and really be you? So there's so many changes happening in the collective. There's a lot of shifts happening. There's a lot of like the push to merge one version of yourself with one that is higher. What I mean about higher is not that it's better. It's just more in tune with itself. It's more balanced. And through all the shift, there's many things that we gotta put into place, right? There's many things that we gotta say no to. There's many things that we have to let go of, and that letting go can just bring it a little bit like into the belly, right? And that's okay. It is part of the journey. However, like going back into authenticity and what it feels like to be you, there's always something bigger guiding you, right? You can call it the highest version of yourself. You can call this God, the universe, whatever it is that you call it, And that is always having like your back. It's guiding you, right? So whenever we get out of our personal bubble that is no like so like, then we can actually experience the bigger bubble in a way. It is through the bigger bubble that we can tune in more into our authentic self, right? When you are into your own personal bubble and you are just so tunnel vision with like just your surroundings and forget that there's a world outside of you, outside of your city, outside of your country, then it can feel a little bit more challenging and to tune in into the bigger aspects of yourself. And the bigger aspects of yourself, is like life itself, like life force energy that passes through you. That some people can say, that is too abstract. But is it really? What does it mean to be abstract? And it could really, it could be different for some people, right? For me, for example, that abstraction that we call it, a life force energy, is all. It's all. So it might feel that it's abstract from people, and it might feel that it's not so real for others, right? But when you tap into that and you see it and you feel it, it's as real as this physical body. It's as real and in a way as solid as this stone. And it shifts the consciousness, and it shifts the way that you see things. It shifts the way that how you operate through your life, because you're no longer operating from just the human experience, but you're getting into the superhuman, what I like to call it, And of course, like the human experience has like its wise version and unwise version, and the superhuman experience is like that divinity that passes through us when we really tap into that and surrender and listen to the messages of that, then something bigger opens up, right? What comes through is like your purity, your own energy. We said in one of the videos that there is, life force energy passes through. There is this kind of like meshy wall with your sacred geometry template, and this is how you get experience, right? We all have our own sacred geometry like template in a way. And so this right here, being you, right? The purity, the pure essence of life that chooses to have a different experience, a personal experience, a unique experience, right? Like being your truth, if that is what it feels like for you, that is your truth, right? And whenever like things are blocked, in this meshy wall, whenever things are not working correctly, right? Whenever you're so tunnel vision into your own little bubble of experience, of having just the human experience, not really tapping so much into the superhuman consciously, then it might feel that you're just another fish in the sea, that there's nothing special about you. And what that does to the system, it really like puts it at times into fight or flight mode, and also into like, why am I here, what did I come here to do, and why am I experiencing this, and like as well as the victim mentality at times, like, why is this happening to me? And so with that we're tapping into the unwise version, which unwise version of the human experience. And of course, how is that your truth, right? It might be your truth in the perception of the unwise human or the human itself, right? But in the purity of all, it's not really that truth that is coming through. And again, resonate with what comes through, that you actually resonate with. These messages are not meant to like, this is how it is for you. If it doesn't feel truth for you, that's okay. It doesn't feel truth for you. If there's something that feels truth for you, then that is your message, yeah? Now, so in the authenticity journey, we go so far off like the centerness, the purity, the essence of you, in order to experience that which is not really ours. But it will really send you into this journey of at times really deep into the unwise version of the human, in order for you to see that that's not who you are, But of course it will feel like so truth for you. Yes, I'm a woman, or I'm a mother, or I'm a student, or whatever it is that you call yourself, right? After the I am. And so that you gotta experience that side of your own journey in order to come back into the centerness and go into also the superhuman, right? So there's just at times where like in spirituality, one goes so far off the superhuman that is like almost non-existent in the human experience, right? It's so out there, which it's okay to be out there, but you also got to be rooted into this experience, because you came here to be a human for a reason. Otherwise you would just stay in their energetics and do whatever it is that you like to do, right? And so here, like we experience both sides of the equation in a way, both sides of the coin, in order to find what is true for you, your balance, right? Your balanced state. And of course it will fluctuate from time to time depending on what it is that you really need to work on. And if you need to work more on like some unwise versions of the human in form of programming, in form of codes, in form of limited beliefs, like you will go to an extreme, right? But this is all happening because you're loving yourself. This is all happening because the balanced state, your true essence, is actually guiding you through all of this. And it's saying like, okay, it's time. We got this, it's time to do this. We actually have the courage, we actually have the strength, and we actually can go back and see those unwise versions of ourselves that before we couldn't, right? And at times it's really interesting because you can see like this form of fluctuating like this, right? But at times when we get into the unwise version, and then you may go into the victim mentality, or it's like, no, I thought I worked through all of that, what you're doing is you're just putting more tension and going even more away from the centerness. Because again, it's like the ego is the mind, it's the unwise version of the human, so it has its own entity within your system. The unwise version of the human that is leading the show is saying, no way, how could I really look at this? I'm perfect, or I don't need to look at this, I'm so enlightened, And at times, we believe that's part of the spirituality side, the superhuman version, right? There's like, I'm so enlightened, I don't need to look at these things. But however, it's actually a really big part of the unwise version of the human, because it really believes that it's everything, believes it has all the power. What I'm talking about here is more of like the ego side, right? I'm not talking about like that part of like, yes, I know deep in my heart that you are the same as me. I know deep in my heart that the tree is also me. But there's a difference when we talk about those things, and we were saying like, I know it all. You don't even have to tell me those things. Yeah, whatever. So in this part, like, it's just so you can see, so you can really see what is behind that barrier. So it's almost like when you're looking at somebody, if you have a partner, or not even just a partner, like a friend, they're perfect mirrors of yourself at times, and at the same time they're also powerful teachers, right? So it's a teacher that is showing up. Do you have the ability to look at the teacher? Do you have the ability to listen to the teacher? And here, of course you do. Of course you do, otherwise it wouldn't have shown up. It shows up because you're ready. It shows up because, again, that wisest part of yourself, the centerness, that pure essence of your being, as in the full life force energy that comes through you from your meshy wall of sacred geometry. It's really saying like, okay, it's time. It's time. So if you have been, like as I was saying at the beginning of the video, there's so many shifts that are happening. We're being called to like really elevate and let go things that are not really vibing with us, and at times that can feel a little bit scary for some, and maybe even scary for all of us in some kind of degree, right? But here it is, like when you really know that a bigger power has your back, and again, whatever you call this bigger power that is guiding you, that this life is happening for you, that you are designing this life, that somehow, even before coming here, you decided, yes, this is what I'm going to be doing, and you chose, you wrote these contracts with people, and you said like, we're going to be doing this together, right? And so when it comes into like the turning point of a new cycle, right? There's a tendency of not wanting to let go of that cycle, because maybe it served you very well for sure, or maybe that's the longing, or maybe it's like, that part of you that doesn't trust yourself really deeply in order to fully open the new cycle. So here, remembering, that yes, you're the one that is guiding you. You are the one, the aspect of divinity, if you call it universe of God, that is literally guiding you. And everything that is coming up to the surface, when you're looking into the unwise version of the human, then it's all because of you. That is a beautiful teacher, right? So letting go of the story that whatever it is that is coming up is bad for you, that makes you a bad person, or that people will not like you because of whatever happened in your past, but just seeing it as what it is, right? The yogis say that everything is neutral. There's no bad, there's no wrong. And so when you see it as neutrality, then whatever mask this teaching has, it will disappear, it will dissolve. There will not be so much tension in the body. You will just be like, okay, I can see you. What is it that you brought here to tell me? And then it will tell you, and then it comes, the beautiful like activation and integration process, and the lightness of being you, the lightness of being one more time more authentic, your authentic self, coming back into the authenticity of your own being. And then, and then you go back into your centerness, and your centerness expands even more, because now you're more in tune with yourself consciously. And it's something that continues to expand, right? I was talking to a client yesterday that this space doesn't really have limits. It doesn't have limits. But because of our own perception, of the things that we've done quote unquote wrong, or how we act, or whatever, like we might see it as very small at the beginning, because it might feel that it's a little bit difficult to tune in into your own authenticity, or even like, what does it even mean to be authentic, right? Or tuning in into your own intuition. And now, as you're turning more into your own intuition, as you're trusting your journey, as you're trusting whatever that rises up, even if it's sucky at times, then the space begins to feel more comfortable. It begins to feel like, okay, I can definitely be here, and so then that's when it feels that it's expanding even more, right? And so coming back into the authentic self over and over and over again, your own authenticity like will shift. a lot, right? So like the one thing in life that is constant is the change, right? So your authentic self maybe last year was like, who knows, a mother that will have like a 9 to 5 job and then still was doing energy work once in a while and having circles with women. And a year from that point, that might not even be your true self anymore, because again, you integrated many things of the shadow aspects, on the unwise human. And then you came back into yourself knowing that perhaps a 9 to 5 job didn't really serve you anymore, but it did serve you well back then. So it's constant changing, right? And we've said this before, that your life is a divine painting, that is constantly shifting, and it has little puzzles, right? So like a moving puzzle, that is also a painting, a masterpiece. That whenever something, it's not aligned with you anymore, then it shifts and brings something else back. So if you see it as like a 3D puzzle, right? So like the front parts that you see at the very beginning is like the one masterpiece of your life that is constant, and it's like as if working at this moment in time, right? And something shifts, your awareness goes up, right? Many integrations has happened, and then what happens from the back begins to like bring up more different puzzles of you, or pieces of the puzzle, so that it begins to move, right? The ones that the pieces in the front that in a way just no longer serve you really, then just go into a different space to come back into you in a different way, in a wise way, because it's always like circulating back, right? There's always circulation back. And so here is the opportunity also to know that, it's not about like telling yourself, this is how I am all the time, because maybe something will happen in that second, and then something will shift really deeply, and then you wouldn't be the same person that you are before, right? Especially when we encounter other beings, whether it is in the energetics, whether like a DT shows up, or people, people that show up in your life, and you get to know them, and it's like, wow, I just got a massive shift just by talking to you, just by listening to your experiences. And so the opportunity to grow right now with all the shifts that are happening, the opportunity to see all these things as neutral, especially those things that make you feel like, I don't know if I can look at you right now. Just saying like, where's that coming from? How is this experience taking me back into something that happened emotionally to me, that is not allowing me to see it as neutral? Because most of the time, something is being brought up to the surface from whether it's your childhood or teenage years, or some kind of other relationship that you had. And so from that, you can be in the integration point, or whatever it is that is coming up. And what this does, it opens up this beautiful connection, this beautiful bridge, this it's what I'm seeing is like, it's like a bridge, but it's also just like a road that it takes you whenever you begin to look at those things that are rising up, whenever you begin to question those things, like, where are you coming from, and what are you trying to tell me? It begins to connect, with that, again, teachings, right? With the teachings of this part of you that lifted up and is now in front of your face in a way. And the more that you walk to this road that connects, that energy that rose up, this memory, let's call it memory, this memory that rose up from within you, the more you soften up into this memory, the more that this connector is like stronger and deeper and wider. So I think it's easier for you to walk. I'm talking about now the energetics. It's easier for you to walk through that bridge, if you will, to connect you and really see what is in front of you as a neutral aspect. And as a neutral aspect, then you can actually integrate, that you can actually invite, because now it's not seen as something awful. Now it's not seen as something that is like putting you into this mode, like freeze mode, or like running away mode. Now it's seen as a teacher. Now it's seeing like, well, what is behind me? It's me. It's a part of myself that is ready to be integrated. It's a part of myself that is ready to be reactivated in this current existence. It's a part of myself that is coming back home in my current reality. And the more that you do this, the more that you go back again into your authentic self. So again, this is one of the reasons why authenticity You know, like it does change. You know, that doesn't mean that your core beliefs like fully shift in one day to another. You know, maybe they will from time to time, but it's still, you know, that the devotion of being you, the love of being you, it's always there present. It might expand in like different ways. However, it doesn't like leave you. It doesn't leave you. So that is something that actually expands as you continue to go back into yourself, into your centeredness and your authentic self. This is not something that just like totally goes away. It's the expansion of the core of your being that says, I'm ready. That says like, I love myself. That says like, yes, I got this. Yes, I'm supported. You know, even I have no idea what's going on, I know I am supported. And it's something so beautiful that happens, you know, in the centeredness in your way of being, your authentic self, that begins to call for something because it knows that core is like, well, you know, in this current reality, I know that I am ready to experience this. So it begins to open up and say like, okay, where is this one thing that is not allowing me to have the experience that I'm calling forth? Okay, is this part, right? So it is you, which is so amazing. It is you, the one that is calling for this, you know? And now, whenever things get integrated and in a way solved and seen and accepted, then it goes back to here. And then here is that expansion of the heart, the expansion of your entire being that is just like, wow, how much do I love myself? And it continues to expand. How much can I see in life? And it expands even more. How much can I see again my gifts? And it expands even more. And the compassion. And then it opens up the portal for the devotion. The devotion of being you. The devotion of your uniqueness. The devotion of just doing the work, whatever the work means for you, in order to be. In order to be. Which is, for me, is true freedom. You being yourself, you know, regardless of what happens around you, you show up as you. And that also for me is empowerment. You are being yourself. You are empowered. And again, it doesn't matter what happens around you. That doesn't change who you are. Because you know, you're rooted into your own amazing foundation. And nothing can bring down your foundation when it's really strong. If it's very shaky, like at times at the beginning of the journey, you know, and people may shake you with their words, with their actions, and that's okay. It's a part of learning. But then the deeper that you go into the journey, you know, your foundation is so set that somebody can say something about you straight into your face, and you know that that's not true, so it doesn't affect you. But you still honor the truth of that other being, you know? It's like, well, I honor your truth. That's what you see. That's cool. That's not what I see. That's not what I feel. So rather than creating this, yeah? Because again, there's so much of this in the planet, right? So let's embrace that. Let's embrace the difference. Let's embrace the change. And going again back into your authentic self, which is beautiful. It's beautiful. And that authentic self, you know, of you is different than the authentic self of me. It's different from the authentic self of anybody else that you know or anybody else that you don't know personally. Because we all have our personal stories. We all have, you know, what happened in the past that made us who we are at this moment in time. And when we honor that, you know, we can respect the authentic self of somebody might look completely different than the authentic self of us or you. And that's okay, you know, that's okay. So, and in this shift that we're going through, right, especially the eclipse was like, so, and the shift that we're going through, which we're always going through a shift, right? But like, we're just being called to relax with what is. We're just being called to relax with a change or relax with a non-change. To relax with like who we are, who we believe we are, who you believe you are, and open up more the space of the divinity within us, you know? The divinity within you. How can you surrender to who you are, right? How can you let go of comparison? How can you let go of judgment? Knowing that whenever we're doing something like that to others, it's actually harming us more because we're creating more separation in the energetics. We're saying that, you know, you're better than me, or I'm better than you, and that's that's not it. You know, we're all, again, we come from the same place, we go back into the same place. So here, you know, it's just, again, relaxing with what is, relaxing with what's right in front of you, especially with you. You know, your own being, your own presence, your own love, the way that you do work, the way that you show up, the way that you don't show up. Because at times it's okay not to show up. At times it's okay to feel all the sadness and all the anger and the frustration. And of course, at times it's so good to be completely blissed out of your mind with your own energy field. So this is the greatest opportunity, in my opinion, of the awakening process. And it just opens up so much for us. And when we surrender with the process, with whatever is in front of us, then it's easier to go, not easier, like we go with the current, right? Rather than trying to pull away from the current when the current is still pushing us that way. Because whenever that happens, you know, something's going to happen in your life. They're just going to go like, bloop, you're just going. And it tends to hurt a little bit more than just going with the wave, right? And the current of this wave of yours. So hope they serve you very, very well. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week and a wonderful weekend. Just want to share that if you're not part of my newsletter, you receive 4 different activations every single day. And it's always to go back into remembrance, to go back into yourself. You can send me a message or you can click on the link in my bio to receive it. You'll get it immediately. Also, I have a Telegram group. It's called Messages of Light, Remembrance. And I send light language messages Monday through Friday just to have like a little boost on the day. Like sometimes things can happen, you know, and then you feel a little bit like, eh. So this is just to keep the vibrations up and continue to elevate, going again back into the remembrance states of you, your balanced state. And also, whenever you purchase or you set up a session with me, a package or mentorship programs, then 10% goes to the Golden Retriever nonprofit organization in Las Vegas. They save golden retrievers from doggy farms in South Korea. And it's an honor to just give back to the community in that way too. You can also find that at my website if you just like to go directly into them and donate to them. They do amazing, amazing things. It's just a beautiful family that, yeah, my heart feels for all those animals. So, yeah. Okay, many blessings to all of you. If you have any questions about your journey or need some guidance, just send me a message. And I'll see you next time. Ciao, peace.